So anyways, I haven't made a video like this for many years. Actually, I haven't really. The only other videos I ever made was about like addiction recovery shit, and I deleted a lot of them. Been sober for 3 years. Um, anyways, with all this corona shit going on, I had to make a video about this. I've been watching a lot of videos made by doctors and everything. I'm on groups on Facebook about this, like anti-vaccine and anti-mandate and whatever. And I've been talking to people, even people in other parts of the world, actually, not just locally here in Canada and BC. But I've seen a lot of stuff over the last 6 months, a year, pretty much since the beginning of the whole thing. I've seen a problem with it all right from the beginning. I knew it was a crock of shit, basically. And no, I'm not saying COVID doesn't exist. Let's get that out of there right off the top. COVID exists. There's a virus out there called COVID. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. It's a respiratory illness. It's infectious. Whatever. The odd person does get really sick, and even fewer people do die. There's no doubt about that. It's a thing that's happening in the world. We're experiencing it. But it's not really anything new. That's the problem. It's just another form of shitty flu, basically, that's out there that may or may not have been created by in a lab. I still haven't verified that. That might be stretching it. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Hopefully in the near future. I want to see where this leads, but that's another whole other story. I don't even want to touch on that right now. Well, the only part I'll say about that actually is a saying I heard years ago. I can't remember where it was, but it made perfect sense here. Is a way of gaining control over the people. Basically, what it breaks down to, the simplest form of it, is create the problem and then create fear and the need for something, the need for help, the need for an answer, and then through all that, offer the solution and become the superpower. People give up their rights and are willing to do anything to have this solution to their problem so they can have their life back. That's about the only part of it I'll touch on, because if that's true, basically the same people that created the virus, these higher ups, these elites, these fucking big pharma, like, I don't know how to explain it, but a lot of people don't realize this, that our world that we live in now is run by money, and more so than we realize. It's not just that you need money to go buy groceries. Like, that's one part of it. That's why money was created in the first place, was a currency to exchange for goods. And that's the base core meaning of, or use for money, but there's a bigger picture than that. Money basically equals power, and power is kind of the human primeval instinct to that what we strive for is to have control over everything around us. It's human nature to want to understand everything, control everything, just have no worries because I can do all this and I can control everything around me. It all bases from our fear of dying. It's like we don't want to die, but we know we're gonna, so instead we try to fix everything else we can. There's nothing we can do about the fact we're gonna die someday, so we're like, okay, well, while I'm on this planet, and I'm just talking instincts here, I'm not talking like this isn't conscious thought that people have all the time. I do, but I know I'm kind of a little bit crazy. But where was I going with that now? Shit. Yeah, well, that's a human primeval instinct to just want to control everything around us and try to live the best life we can, which is fine in its essence. But the problem is the more power people get, the more they want. It's like an addiction almost. It's more than just an instinct. It's something you can't control at all, and it takes over your life. Just like money. People always say the more money you have, the more you want. You never have enough. And, you can get rich, you can get $100,000, but then you're like, oh, now I want $1 million. Then you get $1 million, and then you make more, and before you know it, you're in the tens of millions, and it changes. Yeah, money changes people. I know some people don't think so, but I'm sure it does. I know it does. It has to me a little bit. The little bit of money I've made, it's made me different. Not necessarily in a bad way, but in, whatever. Like, I've noticed it in myself that I've changed when I've had money over when I didn't. And I can just imagine, like, I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars. Like, what if you introduce millions of dollars in your life, or billions? It changes you, and it changes your instincts, and it changes your way of being. And so all these powers that are above us, they literally see us as nothing. We are just income generators for them. We are the machine. We are the oh, what would you call that now? Like the factory just pumping out more money for them. Basically, that's what the humankind is. That's the general populace, the consumer. That's all we are. We consume and then we give them what they need. We're kind of like the trees that fucking suck up all the CO2 and then give out oxygen. That's what we are to these higher ups. We buy and we pay taxes, and we buy and we pay taxes, and we pay for this and we pay for that and we pay for that and we pay for that. And the money that we have is money they let us have through the fucking legal system and the governments and whatever, and trickles down through to the corporations and the lower and lower to the employees. And depending on how smart you are, you make more or less, but the money comes back to them. It's double. They get more every time. They get all the interest, everything else. And they're the ones that run the world. And they're different kind of people than the rest of us. They think differently, and because of this power and money that they have. Anyways, I'm getting way off topic. Basically, so that's what's going on. Big Pharma is owned by these people. The same people that own our governments, basically. They own all the big corporations. You know, like I'm talking like Mark Zuckerberg's and Elon Musk's and what's the other guy's name that I always forget? The richest guy, the owner of Amazon. See, that's another thing. With all the lockdowns and stores being closed and shit, why aren't the big box stores being closed down? Why are people being funneled through these little doorways into these closed off buildings all together in one spot to shop for things, when they could be going here or there or there over to the mom and pop store or the slightly smaller chain store over there, or the, you know, they have options and spread the people out. But no, we're going to fucking box them up and stick them all in one place. And there's a reason for it. Two reasons. One, it continues the fear. It keeps it fucking going. Everybody's walking around with their masks on, seeing each other. It's like, oh my God, don't touch me. Oh, did you wash your hands? Oh, I'm scared. It keeps all that going. But at the same time, it shuts down these small stores. The competition. The only competition of these corporations are the up-and-coming businesses. The small and the mid-size. And because someday the mid-size might get bigger and they might cut into their piece of their pie, you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. They don't want that. They want us to be broke. They want us to be dependent on our government for handouts and shit, and doing the bare minimum just to pay some taxes so the money comes to them. It's all about power and control, power and control. And I know people think I'm just crazy, but whatever. I don't give a shit, to tell you the truth. Maybe I am crazy. I don't give a fuck. I see things the way I see them, and that is the way it is, and it's not going to change. I see the bigger picture. Whenever somebody says, oh, this is happening, I'm like, all right, cool. Well, what was the cause of this? This is an effect. What's the cause? This is happening because that over there happened. And what caused that? Why did that happen? You know, who stood to profit from that? That's what it always comes down to. If you ever want to find out what's fucked up in the world, you want to find out the reasoning for it, and the cause of the effect, follow the money. Find the money. Where is it going up? Where is it funneling to? Money goes here and goes here and goes here, and then it goes to there, and it's a pyramid. It's an upside down pyramid, and it eventually goes to somebody at the top. That's where the fucking cause is, and everything else after that is all effects, and people don't see that. I wish the fucking world could see these things. So this whole Corona thing is an effect of another cause, and the cause is power. It's just greed and power and wanting more. And the corporations have already owned most of the world, most of it. Our governments are owned by it. Like, that's a whole other story. But and one of the biggest corporations is Big Pharma. But Big Pharma is tied in with Big Tech, and it's tied in with the big banks and then Big Oil and these top fucking corporations that have all the money, the ones that control it all. They're all tied together. It's all the same group of people, the 0.01% of the population. And they have like however much of the fucking wealth, like probably well over half of it, but it's not enough. They want more. Money is power, right? It's that primeval, how the fuck do you say that? Primeval urge. to want more and to be in control of everything. That's what it all boils down to. And it's just human nature, basically, is what it is. It's us. We're fucking up our own planet, and we're fucking up our own society, we're fucking up everything. All because of greed and want, and it's all because of our fear of death. It's a, that's another primeval fear that we can't get over. For whatever reason, we just, we hate having to accept it. I don't myself. Anybody else with half a brain would be like, no, I don't want to die. You know, and even people say, well, I'm not afraid of it. Well, that's what religions are about. People fucking join religions so that they know they're going to heaven. They're going to the afterlife beyond here. It's all a fear of dying. It's what fucking controls everything we do as a species. But, anyways, I'm getting off topic again. It's all part of Corona. And it, in two senses, it's twofold. It's the same fear of just wanting to live the best life you can and not fucking worry about a virus. But there's also the fear of possibly dying from the virus and being afraid and not knowing what to do about it. So you look to your government, and the government's like, oh, well, here, you have to take this vaccine. And no, we have to close those stores down so everybody can go in this store. And you got to stay home, and you can only have this many people over. And people are like, okay, well, yeah, we'll give it up. We'll give up these freedoms and these rights and these fucking choices in order to have some safety in our lives and get back to normal. The guise of maybe getting back to the old normal, whatever the fuck that is. Instagram and fucking, oh man, our society's so fucked up right now. I'm actually legitimately worried about what's going on. I actually see World War III coming. Call me a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracyist, or whatever the fuck you want to call me. I don't usually smoke on camera, but I'm fucking pretty emotional and just overwhelmed by all this. I've been talking to so many people. I have a neighbor that lives out here, out in the bush, out in the middle of northwest of Quesnel, BC, and he's from, oh, now I can't remember the name of the country. Some like, is it socialist or communist? I don't remember. Country that's in like Eastern Europe, like by Germany somewhere. Bulgaria or something? I can't remember. But he was a customer of mine. He came here and we started talking when all this like vaccine mandate shit was just starting. It was when just after they announced it. And me and him had never met. But he's a neighbor, he lives down the road, so we started chit-chatting and bullshitting, and of course Corona came up, and the whole mandate shit came up. And he started telling me about his home country, how it went downhill fast once socialism, or whatever it was. I'm not a politician. I don't fully understand the difference between socialism and communism, and I know capitalism is kind of what we are, but that's not a good thing, because that's the corporations owning everything. But anyways, I don't totally understand it all, but he said that he sees Canada drifting towards where his country was, the country that he left. He left there to move to Canada for a new start. Him and his young wife and their young baby and whatever, they bought a place out in the bush in the middle of fucking nowhere but fuck Canada to start a new life, to get away from what they grew up with and what he saw with his own government mandating everything and controlling everything, and like a social credit sort of system. I don't think it was totally like China or nothing, but they monitor everything you do. They say where you can and can't work, and I think that's full-on communism. I think that's what he was explaining. But and he's like, yeah, no, he's been here for 10 years or something. It's been a little while. He's been a Canadian citizen for a bit, and he says he is actually worried, and he sees that coming here, especially in British Columbia. We're one of the most communist fucking driven provinces in our entire country. But he sees it, and he's like, yeah, man, no, we're kind of drifting that way. I asked him this specifically. I'm like, man, you being from another country that was a dictatorship, communist, whatever, my memory sucks. I forget shit. But anyways, I asked him the question, and then this is what he told me about it, that he does see similarities with what's going on with the mask mandate shit and with the lockdowns and with the fucking closing of businesses and the government control taking over and offering handouts and saying, okay, we'll give you money, but you can't do this anymore. That is totally what's going on in here, and he was comparing it to where he came from, what he ran away from. And yeah, I'm worried about it too. I'd like to keep going with this, but I just keep losing my train of thought because it's just so many things to say, and I don't think my battery's going to last long enough for me to say it. The vaccines are a hoax. That's the main thing. Like, I'm not anti-vax. I mean, I don't like the thought of getting a shot stuck in me. I never have. But I mean, I got all my vaccines when I was a kid, fucking measles and mumps and whatever else. I can't remember what they gave me. You know, I had some flu vaccines over the years here and there, but not for a while. I haven't. Probably good 10, 15 years since I've had one. I think when my youngest kid was just a baby. So back in like 04, 5, 6, somewhere in there. But anyways, I'm not totally against them. Some of them are proven, some of them work. There's been diseases in the world that have been pretty much eradicated because of them. So they work. They can work. When they're researched properly and tested properly and gone through all the trials, and it's been a few years, you know, like 5, 10 years since they were introduced, and there's no major fucking side effects, no major problems. Maybe the odd little one, there's always going to be something. Everybody reacts to shit differently, but, you know, in general, they're good. That's different. You know, that's a different type of vaccine. What's coming out right now is not even the same technology. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't fully understand this. But I have watched a lot of videos made by doctors and scientists and being interviewed by, you know, independent news sources and online shit, like not just YouTube and not just Facebook. Like I can't even remember the name of half the sites I go on now, but there's so many of them. I should start writing them down, actually. I just started making a list. This is what prompted me to make this video. I'm making a list of pros and cons of the vaccine. I was just about to start it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a video first, because talking things out helps me fucking clear my head. And talking on the camera, I don't know, maybe somebody else will watch this, maybe they'll make them think a little bit too. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, I could be fucking nuts, but I just know that I'm a critical thinker, and anytime there's something going on, I want to know why. Why are they pushing these vaccines? These vaccines only work against the original variant, the original strain. Maybe they're going to change them. They probably will. They'll make a new vaccine, because now we're on the Delta variant. There's been a couple since. Like there's been 2 or 3 or 4, I think we're on, since the beginning of it. And the vaccine that they may have now is the one that they developed from their original one, like a year and a half ago. Like right now it's October 5th, 2021. So it was like the very beginning of 2020. Almost 2 years, you know, close to it. But it took them that long to even develop it, which is rushing it. Usually it's more than that. I think it's 5 or 6 years or something normally that they do the research and development, but this one was rushed because of the panic and because of all the fear and the push from the governments. They've rushed it, and they fucking they didn't go through all the courses. They fucking skipped steps, and they cheaped out on things. They didn't do the research they were supposed to do, but they still came up with something that worked. It worked for the original variant. It would lessen the symptoms. That's all it would do. It doesn't stop you from getting it. It just makes you not get as sick. You don't go to the hospital. It did that. It's been proven. There's been people I've talked to who have said it. So I'm not going to say it didn't work. But the problem lies where it only works with the original strain. And not in all cases either. You see, the fact that it doesn't kill it, that's a problem right there in itself. Because it doesn't kill the vaccine in your body, it just makes your body stronger to fight it temporarily. Let me add that, it's temporary. These effects wear off. But because of that, the part of the virus that does survive it and gets passed on when you cough and somebody touches something, those germs that come back out of you that are still alive, that haven't been stopped, they're stronger, they mutate. They're like, okay, well that guy tried to kill us, so we're going to fucking put on some different armor, and we're going to be a different army for the next person. And that's pretty stupid terminology, but you get it. They morph into something different because they know what worked and what didn't work. It's just nature. This is Mother Nature at work. Mother Nature is way smarter than we are. And I'll get to that point in a minute here. The viruses are intelligent, not like we are with brains and fucking conscious thought and all that. But they're intelligent in the way they're smart. I would say it like that, like a smartphone. They can adapt and they can be programmed and changed to do different things and to work differently and to fight differently. And that's what Mother Nature does. It's the ones that survive, they get stronger, and then they move on to the next person, and then the next person, and then the next person. They hit somebody that hasn't been fucking vaccinated. Here's my whole big point, I guess. That person might get a little sick. Yeah, they might be in bed for a few days. They might feel like fucking absolute shit. But their natural immune system's going to go into overdrive. They're like, holy shit, this is a new virus. We got to fight this. And it'll take a few days or maybe even a week, maybe even 2 weeks. I've heard of people being sick pretty long. But eventually you get over it. And the good part about your natural immunity is it actually kills the virus. It doesn't just chase it off. It doesn't just fight it and make it mutate and go to the next person. It kills it inside your body. You are no longer contagious. You do not have it. And you can never get it again. Next time that germ comes in your mouth or your nose, your immune system's like, done. Dead, son. You know what I mean? And it's done its job, and it's killed that fucking virus in your body. And then if it gets passed to the next person that's not vaccinated, the same thing's going to happen. Say it happened, you passed it to them before you were totally off of it, before you were, would test negative, before your immune system finished doing its job. See, that's like when you're sick, yeah, sure, stay home. If you're coughing and sneezing and you're, oh, fuck, man, I might even have COVID, I don't know, stay home. To be honest, right now, I'm kind of sick. My whole family is. My wife has to go in to get a COVID test in like an hour, actually. And there's something going on right now. She's already been off work for like 4 days. She has to wait to get a negative result before she can go back. And if she doesn't, if it's positive, her and the 2 kids are getting checked. So I'm pretty sure if they have it, I'm going to have it. But yeah, if she can't go back to work for like 2 weeks after that, if it's positive, then luckily I work from home. You can see, I'm in my shop. I rebuild dirt bikes and sleds and quads. I run my own business from home. I go to town once or maybe twice a week to go to the bank or something. Other than that, I'm home. And I don't have a lot of people around. A couple select friends that come by, the odd customer every once in a while, but for the most part, I'm alone. And yes, I'm a little sick. My throat's been scratchy as fuck. My sinuses, I have chronic sinusitis. My sinuses have been just swollen, like, what's that called? Inflamed. And, like, I'm stuffed right up. Like, I have been for probably a good week and a half. It started out with itchy eyes, and then my cheeks poofed up, and now my sinuses are just like, I can't even breathe. Every morning I'm just plugged. So we are sick. We got something. The kids have been home from school. They've missed, like, one kid's missed, like, almost 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. She was the first one, and then the other kids started getting it, and then Kristen did, and then I did, kind of at the same time. And so we definitely have something, and it very well could be fucking corona. It might be. And to be honest, I hope it is. I fucking hope it is, because then I can prove my goddamn point. I'm relatively healthy, besides being a smoker, and, I don't eat completely healthy, but I am active. I'm outside, I get lots of fresh air, lots of sunshine, and I do eat regularly, not the best food, but I sleep good. I sleep really good. Like, sometimes not enough. I get up early because I just wake up, but I get enough sleep. I have naps if I have to, whatever. Like, I'm as healthy as I could be at the age of 40 being a smoker and a belly. You know what I mean? I'm not perfectly healthy, but I'm not immunocompromised. I'm not really sick. So I'm not too worried about it. And our kids, they're kids. They're healthy. They got the best immune system in the fucking world. And Kristen, she's, about the same as me, I guess. Like, she's average, you know what I mean? We have very minimal risk. Very minimal. One of us might have to get some fucking medication or something. One of us might have to go see a doctor. Maybe. But I doubt it. Honestly, I think the kids are already starting to get over it. I think I'm probably going to be in the next couple days. I think Kristen already is. Even if we do test positive, she'll have to miss more work or whatever. But our immune systems would have done their jobs, and we're going to move on with our lives. No vaccine. Didn't fucking need it. And now we're completely immune to it. And we're not going to pass it on to anybody else. We never can again. The new variants, yes, okay, we could get them. But what were they caused by? The goddamn vaccine. Just like I said, it was the wrong kind of vaccine. It's the wrong kind of treatment. There's one video I just watched with a whole bunch of doctors, infectious disease and immunologists, and like one guy was just a family practitioner. There was like 8 of them were sitting around in a fucking circle talking or whatever. A good like 45-minute video, and they were being interviewed by this guy, an independent investigator type guy on an online fucking streaming thing. I don't remember what it was. I could find it, but and these are actual doctors. They introduced them, said their PhD and their whatever, their where they worked and their whole medical career history and shit and all this. And so they're real people. You could probably Google them. You could probably find them on fucking what's or whatever. So you could find them somewhere, anyways. But anyways, I think I had somebody here, but they were talking about this, and they explained it better than I ever could about how the fucking vaccine is creating the variants, and it's not helping us, and it's a crock of shit. And the kids don't fucking need it. They're too healthy. They don't need it. Alright, I gotta go.